everyone, it's your girl, MissTooMuch, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of history. We're talking about those historical myths we all believe as facts. Prepare to have your minds blown, because we're talking about 10 of the biggest historical myths of all time. Okay, let's start with a classic, the First Thanksgiving. You know the story. Pilgrims, Native Americans, a big old feast of friendship and gratitude. But hold your horses. The truth is, the real story is a lot more complicated. While there was a harvest feast in 1621, it wasn't this picture-perfect moment of unity. The relationship between the Pilgrims and the Native Americans was actually pretty tense, marked by conflict and mistrust. There were cultural clashes, struggles for land, and even violence. The real story reminds us that history isn't always black and white or what it seems like. It's full of gray areas, and it's important to learn about the good, the bad, and the complicated. Let's be honest, Cleopatra was basically the original influencer. She was beautiful, powerful, and had everyone from Julius Caesar to Mark Antony wrapped around her little finger. But here's the plot twist. Cleopatra wasn't actually Egyptian. I know, right? Mind blown. She was part of the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek family that ruled Egypt after Alexander the Great conquered it. So while she ruled over Egypt, she wasn't ethnically Egyptian. Cleopatra embraced her role as pharaoh and is still remembered as one of the most iconic figures in Egyptian history. Picture this. It's 1773. Tensions are high between the American colonists and the British, and suddenly, bam! A bunch of colonists disguised as Native Americans dump a whole shipload of tea into Boston Harbor. It's often portrayed as this spontaneous outburst of rebellion, but in reality, the Boston Tea Party was anything but random. It was a carefully planned and orchestrated protest organized by the Sons of Liberty. They saw the tea tax as a symbol of British oppression and decided to take a stand by chucking tea into the harbor. All right, let's talk about the Spanish Inquisition. You know, the one that always gets a bad rap in history books and movies? The one that's synonymous with torture, persecution, and all things scary? Well, here's the thing. While the Spanish Inquisition definitely wasn't a walk in the park, it wasn't as torturous as popular culture would have you believe. Yes, torture was used, but it wasn't as widespread or as brutal as often depicted. It was actually highly regulated and used more as a means of extracting confessions than as a form of punishment. The Inquisition was primarily focused on religious orthodoxy, rooting out heresy and maintaining Catholic dominance. Next up, we're tackling a major historical misconception, the so-called Dark Ages. This term is often used to describe the Middle Ages, painting a picture of a time of ignorance, superstition, and decline. But guess what? It's totally inaccurate. The Middle Ages weren't some stagnant backward period. In fact, it was a time of incredible cultural, intellectual, and technological advancements. Think about it. Universities were founded, Gothic architecture soared to new heights, and advancements were made in agriculture, navigation, and even fashion. We've all heard this one. The Great Wall of China is so massive, so epic, that it's the only human-made structure visible from space. But here's the thing, it's not actually true. While the Great Wall is undeniably impressive, it's not visible from space with the naked eye. Even from low Earth orbit, it's extremely difficult to spot. But hey, it's still a testament to human ingenuity. We all love a good historical myth, especially about our founding fathers. The myth about George Washington having wooden teeth always gets passed around. Can you imagine? The first president with wooden chompers? But his dentures were not made of wood. They were crafted from ivory, gold, and even human teeth. All right, let's talk Vikings. These fierce Scandinavian warriors have captured our imaginations for centuries. They're known for their longships, their raids, and of course their iconic horned helmets. Well, Not so fast. Turns out, the image of Vikings sporting horned helmets is a big fat myth. There's actually no historical evidence to support this. In fact, archaeologists have never found a Viking helmet with horns. The myth likely originated in the 19th century, thanks to romanticized depictions in operas and plays. Vikings were fierce warriors, but they weren't trying to look like mythical creatures. They were practical, and horns on a helmet would have been more of a hindrance than a help in battle. Hold up, was Napoleon actually short? This is one of those historical myths that just won't quit. We've all heard the jokes about Napoleon's height, or lack thereof, but guess what? Napoleon wasn't actually that short. The myth likely stems from a combination of factors, including propaganda from his enemies and differences in measurement systems. See, back then, the French inch was longer than the British inch. So, when Napoleon's height was converted to British measurements, it made him appear shorter than he actually was. In reality, Napoleon was probably around average height for his time. Uh-oh, what have we got over here? Now it is the turn to address the flat Earth in the room. There is a common misconception which people in the Middle Ages believed. They thought that our Earth was flat. But now after reaching space, we can say for sure that it was totally false. Educated people then also knew the Earth was a sphere. This knowledge had been around since ancient Greece. The myth likely arose from misinterpretation of historical texts. And there you have it, folks. 10 historical myths officially debunked. It's amazing how these misconceptions get passed down through generations, isn't it? But that's why it's so important to be curious, to question what we think we know, and to always seek out the truth. History is full of surprises, and it's our responsibility to learn from the past, even when it means unlearning some things we thought were true. So stay curious, stay informed, and never stop exploring the fascinating world of history. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more mind-blowing historical deep dives. Until next time, stay curious and stay connected.